In this, our final section, we are going to be looking at Death Be Not Proud by John Donne. Now, John Donne also is one of the poets who wrote in the region of 400 years ago. And this guy was a seriously dedicated Christian, as can be seen in the content of his work. Now, before we go on, let's read the poem. This is how it's done. Once again, if you have a copy of the poem in front of you, I encourage you to read along with me. And it goes as follows. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings and desperate men, and dost with poison, war and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swell'st thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Isn't that magnificent? And doesn't it make you think? You know, I must confess, one of the reasons why I am so moved and impressed by this sonnet is the fact that I am myself a practicing Christian. And I too have a definite, solid, firm belief in life after death. I must admit it is not because of this poem. I had that before I'd ever read this poem. I've been a Christian from a very young age. But that's what the poem is about. And when I look at this and I think, wow, hasn't he just expressed this so clearly? Okay, the words are difficult. You notice the archaic words. Once again, I'm stressing archaic words no longer used in English. Yes. But wow, doesn't he use them beautifully? Now, the first thing to remember here is you are dealing with two versions of the same, well, of similar figures of speech. The one is apostrophe, when you are addressing a non-living thing, or perhaps a dead person or an animal, as if it were a real live person who is listening to you. And here he's using apostrophe to address death as if death was a person. If, however, in an exam you were asked what figure of speech is this and you said personification, it would, I think, be correct. But stick with apostrophe, which is the fully correct one there, if you're watching this broadcast. Good. So, death be not proud, though some have called thee, please note, thee, the archaic word, you, it actually just means have called you. We simply, in modern language, no longer use thee and thou and thine, we just use you and yours. Though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st, please note that, those that you think. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, conquer, defeat, all right? Die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. All right, let's just take a look, go back slightly. For those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow, defeat, die not. They don't die. And then he says, poor death. He feels sorry for death because it is so ineffective. Nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure. Okay, rest, sleep. I love going to bed at night after a good day's work. I climb into, especially in winter. Ooh, I love winter. Climbed into bed last night, had a magnificent night's sleep next to my wife, and it was warm and comfortable, and I woke up feeling great as a result. So that comes from rest and sleep. You are refreshed by it. And there he says, which but thy pictures be. Rest and sleep are examples of what it's like to die. He says, see, not so bad. Much pleasure. Okay, from rest and sleep comes, in other words, he's saying, much pleasure. Then, from thee, much more must flow. So he says, when we die, we're going to get even more pleasure. Hey, yes, good news this one. I like it. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. You know, not all of us have an easy life on earth. But when we die, I believe that if we have been faithful to God, and if we have served Him to the best of our ability, it is then soul's delivery, and we wind up in heaven. Watch out, my own personal statement of faith. You are welcome to disagree with me. Faith is a personal thing, as it was to John Donne. This is what he believes. He shares my faith. And then he goes on to say, now please note, that there is our octet or octave, and now we go on to our sextet or sestet, depending on how you pronounce it. This is an Italian or Petrarchan style of sonnet with the 8 lines, the problem, and the 6 lines, now the solution. And he goes on to say, thou art slave. In other words, now a slave is, of course, a person who has no free will. So he regards death as a very low person. Thou art slave to fate. Please note the capital letter. He's using personification here. He has made fate into a person as well. Chance, capital letter. Chance is made into a person. Kings and desperate men. Murderers, in other words. And thou dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. Those are very negative things. I mean, poisons are nasty. They kill people. War is nasty. It kills even more people. And sickness, nasty because it makes us feel terrible. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. Poppy, opium, all right? They sure knew about opium in those days. It wasn't a secret. It was your general painkiller, or if you were trying to make people sleep without really simply deadening pain, you would use what's called laudanum, which was a mixture of opium dissolved in any spirit, such as whiskey or brandy. Anyway, and charms. They believed that prayers and that sort of thing could make you sleep then. That's the one bit I do disagree with. It doesn't work on me. And better than thy stroke. He says they are more effective than death. Why swellst thou then? When he says swellst, puffed up. Somebody who's proud is puffed up, and up goes the chest, and I'm a potent man. I'm a big dude, right? There we are, slang. Why swellst thou then? Why are you so proud of yourself if everything else is better than you and you're nothing more than a slave, the lowest form of humanity? And he ends on an even more positive note. One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. death, thou shalt die. You know, we have this motto in the church, die twice, live forever. Die once, die forever. So if you are dead to sin, we believe, of course, when you first die to sin, then when you die the second time and your body fails, then you are alive forever. And here he has expressed this so clearly. One short sleep past. Once we are going to, of course, rest in peace, and then we wake eternally. We wake never to sleep again. And death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. I really love the message of this poem. I love the imagery. I love everything about that. People, we are going to have to take a short break. When we come back, we shall be dealing with our next 3 poems. Please stay on for the next broadcast. Thank you.